The Maze City is a giant city surrounded by a sturdy wall on all sides. A network of waterways flows through the city, and the gondolas that operate there have become a tourist attraction. But the greatest reason thousands of people flock to the Maze City each year is the dungeon around which it is built. The various kinds of ores, monsters, and herbs found inside the dungeon attract adventurers and merchants alike to the Maze City. In a room in one of the city's corners, a powerful monster awakens. However, the monster looks exactly like an ordinary cat. As it recalls the last things he saw, the cat monster wonders why he is here when he should have died in the dungeon. A gentle voice wakes him up, and he finds a beautiful and well-endowed elf girl looking at him. The girl claims that she was scared when she found a little kitten wounded and senseless inside the dungeon, so she brought it home. The elf girl hugs the monster, and he is overwhelmed by her giant melons, but even though he looks like a cat, he is not one. The cat monster was once a knight who died and reincarnated as an S-rank monster, the Behemoth. Right after he was born, he found himself in danger as goblins surrounded him, but he realized that even when he was so tiny, he had great strength and an assortment of skills. The Behemoth used a fireball at the goblins and burned them to a crisp. He was impressed by his new strength but knew that he could not always rely on it, so he started exploring the dungeon to find an exit. He then came across an E-rank slime monster and defeated it. The Behemoth felt hungry at the sight of the defeated slime and found that even though it smelled foul, it tasted sweet. Eating the slime gave him an additional skill, harvesting, using which he could store the body of the defeated slime in a pocket dimension. The Behemoth decided to hunt weaker monsters to pile up on skills in case he ever fought someone strong. He did not want to fight against humans if possible, because he was once a human too. One day, he saw a chest in the dungeon, and though he knew it was of no use to him, he could not stop his curiosity and opened it. There was a beautiful diamond inside the chest, but as soon as he touched it, it teleported him to a dark place. The Behemoth had no idea where he was, but he could sense that there was someone much stronger than him here. Then he suddenly heard a growling voice coming from below him and was tossed aside as the giant dragon he was standing on was furious about his slumber being disturbed. Behemoth instantly knew that he was facing an Earth Dragon, an S-rank monster, and he had no chance against it. The Earth Dragon attacked him, and he could not evade in time, so he used the Iron Body skill he got from a golem to endure it. He still took too much damage, and as the Earth Dragon came to bite him, he used his remaining energy to use the skill Elemental Tail Sword to fend it off using an invisible blade. Just then, he saw a window and flew towards it to escape the dragon. The Behemoth was badly injured by that encounter, and soon after that, he ran into the elf girl who saved him. Now, as he wakes up next to her, he thanks her for saving her life. Then, the elf girl gets dressed up to do her job as an adventurer, and she gives the cat some milk before going. She leaves the window open for the cat to go and come as it pleases, and then locks the door. Now, Behemoth is overwhelmed by her kindness, and he swears to serve the girl as her loyal knight. He goes outside the room and tries to find the elf girl, which is not really hard as she is the center of attraction wherever she goes. The men ogle her and pass comments about her, and Behemoth thinks that if it were the dungeon, he would have silenced them for good. When the elf girl takes a gondola to reach the dungeon, Behemoth learns that her name is Aria, and she is a D-rank adventurer. Behemoth follows her into the dungeons, where Aria defeats the goblins with great speed and skill. Behemoth thinks that his master only has basic skills with knives, but her speed is overwhelming, and he wonders if it is some kind of skill. Aria then skins the goblins to complete her mission, and Behemoth thinks that if he reveals his identity, the harvest skill would be of great help to her. Aria is happy that she could defeat 3 goblins at once, and she believes that she can enter the next floor soon. Behemoth panics upon hearing this, because entering the dungeon alone was reckless for everyone, especially women. He wonders why Aria does not have a party to go to in the first place, but is relieved when she decides not to go to the lower floors today. She hunts another goblin with her acceleration skill, but as she starts skinning it, another goblin comes to her. Aria decides to take it on despite fulfilling her quota, but she does not realize that it was not an ordinary goblin but a goblin mage. It launches a fireball at her, and Aria is too stunned to do anything. Behemoth counters the fireball with his own attack and then finishes the goblin with an icicle lance. Aria is astonished to see the cat she saved using magic, and Behemoth is horrified at the future that he is sure will come. Now that Aria has found that he is a monster, she will kill him, and he wishes that he could serve her some more. However, his fears do not come true, and Aria gently picks him up and thanks him for saving her life. She coddles him on the way back as she places him on her chest. Then, Aria takes the cat with her to the inn she is staying at, and every man is jealous of the cat that gets to rest on her bosom. Behemoth is furious at them, and he decides to protect his master from the perverts. Just then, a douchebag called Kazman steps in front of Arya and asks her to join his party. Arya is nervous as the C-rank adventurer keeps pressing her, and she refuses, stating that she does not want to join a party with a man. Kazman does not stop and tries to touch her without consent, and Behemoth is furious at him. He bites his hand and then scratches his face, making Kazman angry enough to draw his sword. However, someone grabs the sword and reminds Kazman that drawing one's weapon inside the guild hall is forbidden. Kazman is terrified of the voice, and he turns back to see Arnold Hazeiniger, also called Anna, the queer receptionist at the guild and a former B-rank adventurer. Anna asks Arya if she is okay, and she feels safe since he is here. Then Anna turns to Kazman to learn his reason, and he claims that he just wanted to show off the sword and then runs away. Anna tells Arya that her cat looks very promising based on how it fended off the pervert just now, and she tells him how he used a magic skill to save her in the dungeon. Behemoth feels like this is the end for him, since other humans will have a problem with a monster like him roaming freely in the city. However, after carefully examining him, Anna concludes that the cat is in fact an elemental cat. Arya had also thought the same, and Behemoth feels lucky that he was not found out since an elemental cat also looks like a baby behemoth. Arya then decides to name him Tama and declares that she will raise him as her official pet. The behemoth is overjoyed since now he can freely accompany his master, but Anna warns her against it. He tells Arya that elemental cats can grow up to 2 meters tall, and they can crossbreed with other species too, so he is fearful that the cat may attack Arya when he is in heat. However, Arya does not mind it, and she begins flirting with the cat. Anna stops things from getting more awkward and asks Arya to submit the proof for completing her mission, and after confirming the number of goblin ears, he leaves to get her reward. In the meantime, everyone gathers around Arya and offers to buy her a drink. She refuses their generosity, sits by herself on a bench, and passes time by playing with Tama. It is soon evening, and they go to the market to buy dinner. Arya buys some meat dishes at a heavy discount from 2 stores she frequents, and Tama dislikes that the store owner is ogling her chest. He wants to attack him, but Arya shoves him inside and then takes him home. In their room, they have dinner, and Arya gets drunk to celebrate all the wonderful things that have happened to her since she met Tama. She gets hammered, and she asks the cat to join her for a bath. Tama feels that it is beneath a knight's honor to join a woman in bathing, but he cannot resist his master's temptations and follows her. After that, Arya and Tama go to Vulcan's armor shop and meet the C-rank adventurer and blacksmith, a tiger-eared woman called Vulcan. Vulcan and Arya are quite friendly with each other, and the blacksmith is smitten by Tama, and she plays with him quite a bit. Then Arya makes a request and asks Vulcan if she can make some special armor for her elemental cat, who is going to be her knight. Tama is honored that she thinks so highly of him, and now he can easily protect her. Vulcan is also excited to see if she can make something she has never done before and get to work. The next morning, as Arya asks Tama to do naughty things to her right after waking up, Vulcan comes to their door. She had so much fun crafting an armor for a cat that she worked on it overnight. Vulcan dresses Tama in the armor, and Arya is smitten by how cute he looks. After that, Arya tells Tama that they should head to the guild hall and take some quests together. They enter the first floor of the dungeon and work as a team to defeat 20 goblins. Using Arya's speed and Tama backing her up with magic, they were able to finish them quite easily. Tama thinks that he must only use elemental magic for now, because using anything other than that will make everyone realize that he is a monster. Then, Arya decides to go to the second floor, and Tama follows her. There, a D-rank orc monster sees Arya, and he is immediately captivated by her. However, as she calls it disgusting, the orc attacks her. Tama counters with a fireball, and then Arya finishes the orc by stabbing it. The orc is defeated, and Tama plans to have a bite so that he can grow stronger and even achieve a skill. However, Arya does not let him do it because she fears he might get stomach aches from eating monster meat. He has no choice but to obey her, and then they return to the hall to report about their mission. There, Anna appears anxious and tells Arya to immediately leave, but before he can tell her the reason, Kazman comes there. He shows her an official decree that her elemental cat pet has to be executed for attacking him since he is the son of the Baron. Arya is devastated upon hearing this news, and no one can help her because they cannot challenge the Baron's decision. Tama wonders what he should do in this condition, and even though running away could solve problems for Arya, he does not want to break his vow of serving her. Arya begs Kazman to forgive the element cat, who is very dear to him, and it was exactly what he was waiting for. He lies about her feelings reaching him and says that overturning a decree is not an easy thing. That is why he challenges her to a duel. Kasman tells Arya that she can fight him alongside her cat, and if she wins, he will take back the decree. But if she loses, she will have to become his wife. She is horrified as she hears his condition, but to save Tama, she accepts the challenge. Arya starts crying, telling him to stop the execution for now, and Tama is furious. He swears that he will make Kasman pay for the crime of making his master cry. The duel takes place outside, with Anna officiating it. The duel starts, and Tama immediately attacks Kasman with an icicle lance, but the magic dissipates before hitting him because Kasman has the ring of protection that turns magical attacks powerless. Then Arya attacks him with her acceleration skill, but he outmatches her. Kasman attacks Arya, and before he can strike her, Tama jumps in the way of his attack and blocks it. Arya is horrified, but Kasman keeps on attacking him. Tama is severely injured, and Arya rushes to his side, apologizing for letting him get hurt. Kasman gives her a final chance, asking her to surrender, and he will spare her cat's life. Arya ponders over his offer, but Tama does not want to take it. He plans to use a non-magical skill that will not expose him. Just as Kasman reaches them, he uses Ethereal Howl, a powerful skill that sends the perverted man crushing into a wall, unable to move. Arya is dazed by what just happened, but the crowd tells her to finish the duel. She angrily approaches Kasman, who is unable to move, and with a powerful kick, she crushes his balls. Arya and Tama win the duel, and she heals Tama with a healing potion. At night, she treats him to a delicious meal and then starts apologizing for what happened during the day. She kisses Tama all over, saying that if he had died, she would have been devastated. However, Tama plans to use other skills too if he needs them now, because Anna just provided him with a great cover story. He had told Arya that her elemental cat must have used something called the racial skill at the end of the battle, which was something rarely seen. Now, Tama plans on passing everything as his racial skill and nuzzles Arya to comfort her. The next day, Arya visits Vulcan's store to buy new blades, while the blacksmith plays with Tama. Then Vulcan suddenly tells Arya that she is looking for adventurers to join her party and invites her to it. Arya is nervous since she is only a D rank, and Vulcan already has a party, but she tells her that she has the potential to grow stronger, and Tama is also quite strong. Also, her previous party was dissolved because one of their members got pregnant. Vulcan convinces Arya to join her, and they register as a party at the guild. Anna thinks that they are strong enough to take on the quest to defeat the Minotaur, and they immediately set out to the dungeon. After clearing goblins on the first floor, they go to the second floor, where another group of goblins attacks them. The goblin mage uses a fireball against Vulcan, but she deflects it with her hammer and then uses her flame enchant skill to pierce through the goblins with her fists. Arya is surprised to see that and learns that flame enchant was a skill that evolved from her blacksmithing skill, enchant. Tama realizes that, on top of having superhuman strength, Vulcan's strength was also because of her evolved skill. Then, an orc comes to face them, and Tama and Arya use their routine tactic to take it down. Vulcan is impressed by Arya's acceleration and Tama's support, but she spotted her mistakes too. She tells Arya that her attacks are too straightforward and she should input a feint in between her attacks to become better. Vulcan tells her more about this strategy and claims that the next floor will be perfect for her to try it out. The third floor of the dungeon is filled with D-rank monsters called ropers that are known to strangle people and do nasty things with them. Vulcan tells Arya to deal with them without letting them catch her, and forbids her to take Tama's help. Arya attacks the ropers, following the new strategy. She is doing well when one roper suddenly releases a stream of mucus on her, and she is enraged. Arya accelerates towards it and passes it, and her attack defeats the roper after that. Due to her heightened emotions, her skill acceleration had evolved into Gale Slash, which allows her attacks to follow her movement. Arya is still furious at the ropers and takes out her rage at them, and taking this chance, Tama decides to take a bite of one monster to gain its skills. He takes a bite, but the roper tastes disgusting, and he wants to throw up. The skills he got are Summon Tentacles, Infinite Mucus Spray, and Crossbreeding, which are exactly what ropers were known for. He is still reeling from the horrible taste as he walks back, and Vulcan tells Arya to stop tormenting the dead monster. It is time for them to enter the next floor, and there they find ropers yet again. Vulcan says that they should have no difficulty facing them, but Arya is overwhelmed by their numbers. They defeat all the ropers, but end up getting covered with their mucus in the fight. Tama feels bad for not being able to protect her master from that, but then they have to move to the 5th floor, where the Minotaur is found. Arya asks Tama to use his racial skill if it is needed in the battle, and he agrees. They sneak into the 5th floor, and taking advantage of the fact that the Minotaur has not yet noticed them, Aria launches a sneak attack from behind. Her Gale Slash is barely able to make a cut on the monster's skin. However, Vulcan joins the fray and smacks the monster's head with her giant hammer. The two girls keep on hitting the Minotaur from both directions while evading its attacks. When it seems like the monster is sufficiently injured and about to snap, Aria asks Tama to use his racial skill. He uses an ethereal howl at the Minotaur that makes him sufficiently weak, and then Vulcan finishes it off with a heavy blow. They happily return to the surface, but on the way, they come across another roper. Vulcan goes ahead to fight it, but Tama notices something wrong with it, and he jumps ahead and hits it first. The roper was a rare breed called the Edgy Roper that had sharp blades on the ends of its tentacles, and Tama knew about it from his time as a knight. He blasts the roper away with an icicle blast, and the party is unharmed. They return to the guild hall and submit the proof of slaying the Minotaur to Anna, who learns that Aria has evolved her skill. As Anna goes to process her reward, Vulcan asks Aria to join her for drinks, and they go to the tavern. As the girls enjoy themselves, Tama thinks that his master has found a great friend. Some guys try to approach them, but he looks at them furiously, and they are afraid of the cat who defeated Kazman. Then, Aria and Vulcan get hammered, and they both sleep with Tama, who finds himself in an awkward position between the two beauties. With nothing to do, he checks his stats and finds that he can now evolve into the second form of a behemoth. He realizes that the monster behemoth that the world fears attains that form through evolution. Tama thinks that if he ends up becoming like a real behemoth after evolving, he will not be able to serve Aria. However, if he can choose between evolving or not, then he wants to choose to not evolve and stay with her. Later that day, Tama visits the market with Aria, where they see two burly adventurers beating a poor kid. Aria steps up to rescue her, but the men start making nasty comments about her and approach her. Tama attacks them with an icicle lance, and they are intimidated and run away. Then Aria gives the injured kid a healing potion and asks her to come with her. The girl, whose name is Lala, is just a beggar, and she thinks that she has no place to go, but Aria picks her up and takes her to the church. Aria leaves Lala in Tama's care while she talks to the nun, and she enrolls the girl in the church's school by paying the fee. Tama finds that his master is not only beautiful but also too noble, and he swears to protect her yet again. The days pass, and Tama lives his usual life while Aria trains with Vulcan and grows strong enough to earn the C rank. Then one day, Anna tells them horrifying news about people going missing in the next town. The girls think that there must be a quest to look for the missing people, but Anna tells them that they are not simply missing. He has heard stories that some demons are hiding in the ruins next to the city of Leonard, and they are abducting humans to feed them to the monsters under their command. The girls are horrified to learn this, but seeing that everyone in the group was rejecting the request about the demons despite the huge prize money, Aria asks Anna to tell them the details. She is determined to not let anyone suffer, and Tama recalls that her dream was to become like the master fencer. Moved by her determination, Vulcan also joins the quest, and Tama was always willing to accompany her. Anna moves on to the details, but someone else interrupts the conversation and takes charge of the explanation. Everyone turns back and finds a mysterious hooded man. The man introduces himself as Cedric Lewin, a knight who will be joining the mission alongside them. Vulcan and Anna already know him, and as they talk with him, Tama recalls knowing Cedric's name. He was the eldest son of a marquis who made a name for himself when he fought off a large-scale demonic invasion of his city. He was part of the group that ended the war called Ragnarok, and after that, he was established as a hero. Aria is also flattered to meet Cedric, and his natural charm wins her over, making Mick jealous. However, the knight is not interested in women at all. Since there is no other adventurer interested in the quest, Cedric takes the party to a table and explains that their goal is to exterminate the demons and the monsters serving them. Along with the adventurers, a party of 5 powerful knights led by Cedric will join the battle. Aria is nervous that their numbers are not enough, but Cedric assures her that all the knights have fought against demons before, and he trusts their abilities. The next day, it is time to depart for the quest, and Aria is nervous about it. Tama licks her face to calm her, and she is so happy that he cheered her on that she kisses him. Tama turns red as he blushes, but then he shakes those thoughts away and steels his resolve to protect his master. They meet up with Vulcan and the night party at the city gate. The party includes a man named Danny, who is Cedric's assistant, a lizard folk named Howard, who is the party tank, and 2 girls named Kenny and Marietta, who use an axe and a club. Tama figures out that the party is heavy on the melee side, but Cedric had mentioned something about a hidden card earlier. Then Arya introduces herself and Tama to the party, and the girls are smitten by how cute the cat is. They get inside the carriage, and Kenny and Marietta take turns hugging Tama. Arya asks them if it is fine that they are just sitting idly inside the carriage, and they reply that it is fine. Arya offers to drive the carriage, but Cedric refuses to switch places with her as he is not comfortable with women. Then the carriage suddenly stops, and the girls find that a group of orcs are obstructing their path. Cedric tells the girls to comfortably stay inside and orders Danny to deal with the orcs. Danny walks up to the group of orcs and shows great sword skills as he takes them all down without using any ability. Then they reach Leonard Town, where the mayor informs them in detail about the kidnappings. The demon was sighted in some ruins not far away from their town, and they could not protect themselves as their town was founded recently. Howard mentions that before the war, this town used to be a demon settlement, and after it was cleared, humans took over it. The town has prepared food and drinks for the heroes that have come to save them, and while eating, Arya asks the knights the reason they joined the cavalry. Everyone has roughly the same story. Their family was suffering financially, and they joined the knights in order to find a way to repay their debts. Arya and Vulcan are upset to hear their stories, but the knights cheer them on, saying that now they have paid all their debts and serve as knights of their free will. They credit Cedric's brother-in-law for helping them pay their debts, and Arya is stunned when she hears that the Archmage who saved the world is Cedric's brother-in-law. Vulcan adds that she knew the Archmage before he became so famous, and he is the one who got his previous party member pregnant. Arya finds it hard to believe that the greatest hero of the war, Ragnarok, was so close to her friend. The knights can't stop praising the Archmage and saying that he single-handedly destroyed the demon god in the war. Tama has also heard the rumors about this story, and now he is curious to meet the Archmage someday. Then Arya asks Cedric his reason to become a knight, and he replies that he had nothing else to do and that being a knight would let him meet some wonderful men. On top of that, he smiles as he says that being a knight lets them legally kill criminals, and he loves that. The next day, they go to the ruins and find hobgoblins guarding the entrance. Kenny and Marietta step up to the task of ambushing them and taking them out quickly. They attack the hobgoblins quickly and take them down one after the other, and then the rest of the team catches up with them. Cedric says that the ruins have only one exit and one entrance, so they should attack immediately to give the enemy no chance to escape. However, the demon inside the ruins has seen the intruders using his crystal ball. The demon is nervous because, even though he was meticulous with his kidnapping, he was still found out and reported. He thinks that he had no choice but to abduct humans to feed them to his monsters to conduct his experiments, and if he was not interrupted, he would soon reach the next stage of his plans. Now, he plans to unleash the monsters he has been taming against the intruders to see the results of his experiment. The subjugation party encounters a group of rare werewolves on their way. Tama knows that werewolves are C-rank monsters that are territorial and like to work alone, but if so many of them were attacking them together, surely a demon was controlling them. Cedric commands his group to charge at the monsters, and he tells Vulcan, Arya, and Tama to wait for their chance. Howard taunts the werewolves into attacking only him, and he blocks their attacks with his heavy shield. Kenny and Marietta begin taking down the monsters from flanks, while Cedric has become a psychopath as he kills the werewolves. Arya and Tama also spring into action just as another group of werewolves approaches. Arya asks Tama to attack them, and he has been planning to use some new skills he has learned. First, he uses a water attack to drench the wolves, and then he uses a lightning attack to roast them all. The knights are impressed by his strength, and even the demon fears the elemental cat. He thinks that it will be tough to fight against the knights and an elemental cat, so he decides to unleash his trump card and join the battle personally too. Outside, everyone is fawning over how strong Tama is, when Cedric and others suddenly feel overwhelming pressure. The demon himself comes to face them and tells them that it is the end of their mission. Cedric asks the demon what he was scheming, and he replies that he wants revenge. The demon introduces himself as Beryl Astaroth, and the girls remember that Astaroth was the name of the demon settlement on which the town of Leonard is based. Beryl replies that he is the sole survivor of that settlement, and now he will take revenge on the humans who destroyed it. He commands his servants to kill all the heroes and destroy the town, and the ground begins rumbling as 6 giant trolls, all of whom are rank monsters, appear behind the demon. The knights realize that it is not going to be easy to fight the trolls, and Cedric commands everyone to spread out. That was what Beryl was waiting for, and he used a spell to create barriers separating everyone. Arya and Vulcan face Beryl, the knights face 2 of the trolls, and Tama faces the remaining 4 trolls inside their respective barriers. Beryl says that the elemental cat was the most dangerous member of their group, which is why he wants to certainly eliminate it. Arya bangs the barrier, calling out to Tama, who realizes that leaving her side was a big blunder. Then Beryl declares that this is the beginning of his revenge. Tama wants to defeat the trolls quickly before reaching out to help his master, and he attacks a troll with his water howling attack. It barely does any damage, and the troll starts regenerating immediately. The troll stabs him back, and Tama dodges it, wondering how he can defeat an enemy like that. On the other hand, the knights want Cedric to deal with the trolls immediately because it is his specialty, and he obliges by releasing his dark elemental magic. With one strike, he slashes both the trolls who cannot regenerate, as dark magic was absorbing their life force. Beryl is stunned to see that ability, and Cedric stares menacingly at him, telling him to wait for his turn. In his barrier, Tama keeps on dodging the attacks of the trolls and then launches a barrage of powerful attacks on them. He manages to burn them all with his fire howling and emerges victorious. Now, Beryl is in denial that his plan fell apart so quickly, but Arya and Vulcan constantly attack him from both sides. He deems their attacks too weak to damage him, but Arya's Gale Slash manages to injure his face. He is furious, but he knows that he cannot win against his enemies at this rate. He plans to remove the barrier and recast it immediately so that he can escape. But before that, he wants to at least kill the 2 girls in front of him, as they are the weakest link in the group. He takes out a dagger and attacks them, and Vulcan and Arya launch a combo attack to take him down. The barrier is lifted, but then Arya collapses, and a strange marking is seen on her arm. Beryl tells them that his dagger was laced with poison dragon's venom, and he will at least take Arya with him. Everyone is worried about her, and they take her back to the city for now. However, treating a poison dragon's venom is not an easy task, and they need the eye of the earth dragon to neutralize the poison. Tama is stunned to hear that, because there is no way they can get the eye of an S-rank monster so easily. However, he cannot give up on his master and flies away to the dungeon immediately. Tama remembers how it went when he met the earth dragon the last time, but he does not fear it more than Arya's death. He reaches the dungeon and destroys all monsters in his path as he reaches the window from which he previously escaped. Tama reaches the earth dragon, who taunts him, calling him a weakling, and asks him why he came back here again. Tama thinks that if it is an aerial battle, he has the advantage, and he attacks the earth dragon while flying. His fire breath has no effect on the dragon, who attacks him with its claw. Tama dodges it and then uses his elemental tail sword to injure the dragon's arm. This infuriates it, and it attacks the cat with its tail. Tama cannot dodge it, so he blocks the attack with his iron body, and then attacks the earth dragon again. However, it is not easy for Tama to defeat another S-rank monster when he is just an infant, and he soon gets exhausted. The earth dragon taunts him, saying that he will soon die at this rate, and Tama also realizes that if he fails here, Arya will die. So he decides to use something he never wanted to, and he chooses to evolve into the second form of a behemoth. Tama shines brightly, and the earth dragon cannot understand anything. Then, Tama appears in his behemoth form, which is as huge as the earth dragon, and attacks it with a powerful flame howling attack. The attack damages the dragon, who knows that it cannot fight for long like this. Tama stabs it with his fire tail sword, while the dragon retaliates with a strike of its claw. They hit each other at the same time, and Tama emerges victorious as his attack splits the dragon's head in 2. He is about to collapse but uses his harvesting skill on the fallen earth dragon. However, just then, the magic in his body starts dissipating, and he returns to his normal form. Tama wonders what could be the reason for this, but he knows there is no time to hypothesize, and he flies back to save Arya immediately. Meanwhile, in Leonard Town, the knights and local doctors are trying to keep Arya alive by extracting poison blood from her body, but she is only calling for Tama. Tama reaches the room's window just as Cedric suggests that they should cut off Arya's arm to save her life, and he scratches the window to stop him. Cedric opens the window to find Tama wounded, but he doesn't care about that. He uses his harvesting skill to bring forth the body of the earth dragon he just hunted and signals Cedric to use its eye to save Tama. Everyone spurs action, and Tama also drinks a healing potion to get better as Arya's treatment is in process. A few days later, Arya finally awakens after a long time of being in a coma. Her body has been cleaned of the poison, but she still needs a long rest. Arya hugs Tama as she thanks him for helping her. She has doubts about him being injured as the body of the earth dragon was suddenly found outside their room, but she simply hugs him. Tama wonders about his evolution and how he managed to turn back. He opens his status window and is stunned to find that the evolution skill has vanished from there. Then Arya starts sneezing, so he covers her with the sheets and tells her to get some rest. Arya sleeps, with Tama next to her. In her dreams, Arya sees a fateful incident from her childhood in the elf village of Luminous. She was returning home from the forest after picking herbs one day when two bandits suddenly started pursuing her. They planned to sell her in the city, but before that, one of them tried to molest her. Arya screamed for help, and just as the man was about to harm her, a cat came there and put an icicle lance through his chest. The cat was Leo, an elemental cat and the hunting companion of Arya's neighbor. That day, Arya was lucky that she was on Leo's normal hunting route, and that allowed her to be saved from the molesters. Her neighbor soon found her, and she consoled the poor girl. That day, when Arya was saved by Leo, she fell in love with cats, and she wanted to be like her neighbor and Leo when she grew up. As she is dreaming of this, Arya wakes up and tries to kiss Tama, who panics but realizes that his master is returning to her normal state. Arya again dreams of her past. One day, a horde of demons attacked her village. She was hiding, but they sniffed her out and tried to eat her. However, just before they could reach her, the legendary swordswoman called Master Fencer appeared out of nowhere and saved her and her village. Arya was so inspired by her that she decided to become a great swordswoman like her. However, she learned the hard way that she had no talent to wield the longsword. Instead of that, she started using knives, which went hand in hand with her unique skill of acceleration. She continued studying and training till she reached the age of 16, when she departed for Maze City to become an adventurer. Arya ran into trouble the very first day in the Adventurer Guild when a team of nasty men started to hit on her. She reflexively kicked one of them in the crotch, and as they tried to attack her, Anna came to her rescue. He forbade fighting in the guild hall, and the two men ran away in fear. That day, Arya made her first friend in Maze City, who guided her through the process of becoming an adventurer and gave her the first mission to collect some goblin ears. She was soon promoted to D rank and went into the dungeon more confidently. However, on one such day, Arya found an injured kitten in the dungeon. She panicked and immediately applied first aid to it before bringing it back to her room. Luckily, the cat woke up soon and then saved her from the goblin mage the same day. In that moment, she fell in love with Tama, the cat who saved her life. In the present, Arya has completely recovered from the poisoning, and Tama is happy about it. She cuddles with him, and he gets away from her as he reminds himself that he was a proud knight in his previous life. Arya wants to know if Tama was the one who killed the Earth Dragon, but luckily, she cannot sense any meaning in his meows and wishes that he was able to talk. After that, Arya gets dressed up and dresses up Tama as a cute cat, but he finds this appearance unsuitable for a knight. Meanwhile, something else is happening inside the dungeon. The Earth Dragon Tama defeated earlier was always the strongest monster in its vicinity. It defeated every monster that came its way and became even more powerful. However, when it was hurt and defeated by Tama, it realized that he was stronger than it. So, the Earth Dragon wishes to be reincarnated as someone who can cooperate with the Behemoth, and hopes to bear a lot of children with him. The dragon's wish comes true, and it finds itself in the body of a human woman. After examining her new body, the Earth Dragon defeats all the monsters in her path, and then she leaves to find the powerful cat monster. Later that night, Tama takes a stroll into the dungeon to test out his new skills before he enters the dungeon with Arya tomorrow. He checks his skills and finds that the evolution pathway is not on the screen anymore. However, now he has an additional passive skill called Lion King's Protection and two skills he absorbed from the Earth Dragon called Dragon Fang and Dragon Claw. Tama is here to test his new skills. He first tries out Dragon Fang on a goblin, who gets bitten to death with the powerful attack. Tama is terrified of the skill's power, even though it is not his strongest attack skill. Then he goes to the lower floors to find a stronger enemy on whom he can test out his Dragon Claw. Tama finds an orc and kills him with his Dragon Claw. He then makes his way to the 5th floor, where he plans to use his passive skill, Lion King's Protection. As soon as he uses it, Tama is surrounded by a protective aura, and all his stats and resistances are increased. He thinks that with such great skill, he can easily defend his master on the battlefield. Just then, he is attacked by a minotaur. Tama dodges its attack and then tackles it, and he finds that his speed and strength have greatly increased, and he can knock down a minotaur just with a tackle. He finishes the minotaur and heads back to his master's side when he hears a woman calling him the mightiest one. Tama turns around to find a woman approaching him, but he does not recognize her. The woman asks him why he reverted to this tiny form, and Tama feels that her presence is familiar. However, the woman is not interested in introductions and immediately demands that he impregnate her. Tama is horrified and runs away, realizing that this woman is as deranged as his master. She is quite fast, and he barely manages to give her the slip. She still screams at him to make her pregnant, and the terrified Tama returns to Arya and cuddles with her to relax his mind. The next day, Tama and Arya meet up with Vulcan, and they are ready to go into the dungeon again. They are wearing new gear thanks to the reward from the demon subjugation quest and Tama killing 4 trolls on his own. Vulcan suggested Arya spend some money to get orichalcum armor for herself and the cat, since it would be lighter yet more durable. Now, the party of 3 enters the dungeon, and Tama is still worried about the crazy woman from yesterday. On the first floor of the dungeon, Arya is anxious since she has not stepped into the dungeon for 1 month. She is not sure if she is still good enough to fight, and Vulcan tries to cheer her up. Tama also notices her worries, and he uses his passive skill Lion King's protection on the 2 girls who feel their stats rising. Arya is confident that with Tama backing her, she can fight freely. Just then, a goblin comes towards them, and she decides to test her powers on it. Arya rushes towards it, and she is quite fast even without using her accelerate spell. On top of that, the new knives she is using are quite sharp, and she effortlessly beheads the goblin in 1 strike. Tama realizes that after recovering from the poison, Arya's power has increased a lot. The 2 girls want to explore the dungeon some more, and Tama follows them, thinking that he will use all his strength to protect them in case of emergencies. However, just then, they spot the crazy woman he met yesterday standing at a distance. She looks nervous and unwell, but Tama still finds her terrifying. Arya is worried about her, and she approaches her, asking if she is a resident of Maze City who got lost here. The woman nervously replies that she was born in darkness and has no idea what a city is. Arya and Vulcan believe that the girl is suffering from amnesia, and they ask her to come with them to the city. However, she is not interested in them and tells Arya that she wants to talk to the mighty one on her chest. Arya is surprised that the girl knows how powerful Tama is, even though she is meeting him for the first time today. Then the weird woman declares that her purpose is to mate with Tama and have his children, and all 3 adventurers are horrified as she describes the process graphically. However, Arya pacifies her by saying that Tama is just a kitten right now, so he can't do anything with her. The woman is dejected, but then she asks Arya whether she can stay with the mightiest one if she goes with them. Arya affirms, but she has no intention to let the strange woman get close to her cat. However, she convinces her to move to the city with them, convinced that the woman has lost her memories. Tama feels bad for abandoning her last night if she really lost her memories, but he still feels a familiar feeling from her. They get back to the inn, and Arya moves into a larger room so that she can accommodate the strange woman they have rescued. There, she names her Stella, which means beautiful, and the woman likes it. She tries to make a move on Tama again, but Arya stops her, saying that she has tried it herself, but he never responds to her. After that, Arya gets Stella cleaned and dressed. Suddenly, the smell of meat being cooked downstairs reaches her, and she rushes outside, swearing to defeat the sweet-smelling monster to eat it. However, Arya and Vulcan stop her, and they guide her through every step of eating like a human. Stella eats too much too quickly, and she can barely move when she goes back to her room with Arya. She pops on the comfy bed while Arya brushes Tama's teeth before sleeping. Stella is jealous of her since she gets to sleep with the mightiest one. At night, while Arya is sound asleep, Tama hears Stella calling him and asking him to wake up. He wakes up and wonders if he was dreaming, but then he sees Stella sitting on her bed and staring at him. She says that to make up for the time they lost during the day, she wants to talk to him all night. Just then, Tama realizes that she is not actually talking, but he can hear her voice in his head. Stella confirms his doubts and says that she was using telepathy to talk to her, and she can just read his mind to hear his response. Now, Tama is terrified that, since she can easily read his mind, she may reveal that he is a monster to everyone. Stella asks him why he is looking so nervous now when he was looking so cool when he killed her. Tama nervously replies that he doesn't know what she is talking about and adds that she is still alive. Stella is adamant that they fought, and even she has no idea how she is still alive. Tama is getting more confused with each thing she says, but then she describes how he turned into a giant lion the second time they were fighting in the dungeon and killed her with a gigantic flame attack. Tama is terrified as he asks Stella if she is the giant earth dragon he saw in the dungeon, and he wonders if she has also reincarnated like him. Now, as Stella starts ranting about how she felt when he killed her, Tama clearly tells her that if she tries something, he will kill her again. He is nervous about fighting her again, but Stella tells him that she has given up on fighting him and has acknowledged his strength. She tells Tama that he is the first male she found stronger than herself, and now she wants to have his kids. She pounces on Tama without warning, asking him to give her his seed now, and Tama runs into Aria's lap immediately. She wakes up and confronts Stella about attacking her cat while she is still in the air, and the dragon girl is too startled and rushes to a corner of the room. She is terrified of Aria for getting up so suddenly, and Aria cuddles Tama to calm him down. Then she turns to Stella and once again tells her that even though she finds Tama attractive, she should not force him, as he is still a kid. On top of that, he is her knight right now, and she does not plan to give him away to anyone. Stella cannot believe that she failed so badly, and she decides not to give up on approaching Tama for the night. However, even as they sleep again, Stella tells Tama that she will not give up on him anytime soon. The next day, Stella tries different types of dishes for breakfast, including eggs and toast, that captivate her the most. She drinks juice and eats toast, and then telepathically asks Tama what the girl named Aria is to him. She wants to know how someone as gentle as her keeps someone as strong as him under her control. Tama plainly replies that she is his master because she saved his life, and Stella wants to become more like her. Then, Tama asks her not to tell Aria that they can talk through telepathy, because right now she has no idea that he is really a monster. He wants to serve as her knight, and that is why he does not want her to learn this truth. Stella replies that she will tell Aria the truth and then make Tama hers, and he is stunned to hear this. However, she just laughs and stuffs herself some more, saying that she was just joking, and her pride as a female would not allow her to stoop so low. Tama didn't think a monster could joke like that. But then he moves on to the next topic and asks her to call him by his name from now on. Stella is happy to receive this privilege, but as she and Tama are looking at each other, Aria has suspicions that they are communicating with each other. She asks Stella if she has any special skills, but she does not know anything about them either. However, Aria is concerned that looking after her is a costly affair since she eats a lot. Aria thinks that at this rate she must leave her on her own, and Stella was reading her mind, so she declares that she is good at fighting. Aria is astonished to learn this, but then she asks Stella why she was so scared when they first saw her in the dungeon. The dragon girl replies that she is not scared of monsters, but seeing a human command the mightiest cat made her afraid. Aria is stumped to hear her reasoning, and then she asks Stella if she would like to come on adventures with her since she likes fighting. Stella affirms without wasting a moment, even though she has no idea what adventurers are. Aria explains that they are humans who enter the dungeon, defeat monsters for money, and get stronger. Stella recalls that she met some humans like that when she was a dragon, and she thinks that being an adventurer would be fun. So later, she goes with Aria to Vulcan's shop, where he prepares a set of armor for her. Stella is happy with her armor, and she can't wait to get started on the adventures. With this, the video ends. Tell us what you think about it in the comments. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.